The first presentation will be co-presented by our very own Muluba, Habanayama, and Ahmed Habre. So Muluba has been active in HIV advocacy for years, and she is the principal knowledge user on the Can Live Well CIHR grant, which alongside Realize is sponsoring today's event. She's a social media specialist for OHTN and a member of the CTN Community Advisory Committee. Ahmed Habre is a community advocate linked with the AIDS Committee of Ottawa and the AIDS Committee of Durham's POSI program. And he's also a good friend and collaborator of mine, and I'm really glad to see him here today. The two of them will be presenting on wellness initiatives for youth living with HIV in Ontario and Canada. Welcome, Ahmed. Welcome, Muluba. Take it away.
Thank you, Jason. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, thank you. It's so great to see everyone's faces. It's me again. So Ahmed and I will be talking about connections. Connections with someone relatable to you is forefront of everything. So who are we? Ahmed?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so who are we? So this project was led by our team, which we named Connections Plus. Basically, there was me, Dr. Carmen Logi, Dr. Brophy, Logan Kennedy, Jamie, Mona Lutfi, Adrian Betts, Sarah Chown. Basically, anyone that had anything to do with youth living with HIV in Canada at the time was a part of the team. And the goal, or actually, well, I guess we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, that's the team.
And as Ahmed said, he is the Connections co-principal investigator, provincial youth leader, AIDS Committee of Ottawa board member, and a service user. I am the Can Live grant principal knowledge user, a former youth support worker. I'm kind of aging out of that. Don't tell anybody. We recognize that we are situated on the territory of the Anishinaabe, Algonquin Nation, and the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. And we want to recognize that these lands were stolen from Indigenous peoples, and then prisoned Africans and Blacks were brought to build this land. And acknowledging that also means that recognizing that we have to help decolonize the nation. And Ahmed did talk about our team. Shout out to all of them. And I want to give a special shout out to J, R, and N, which were our other peer leaders on the project. They did a lot of training and did a lot of work, and I want to give a big shout out to the participants in the project as well. And the purpose of the study is to work with youth living with HIV to pilot an intervention to promote youth's well-being and engagement in the HIV care cascade, to explore the experiences of peer support, empowerment, resilience, and adulthood among youth, mobilize knowledge on the needs, realities, and opportunities to strengthen youth.
All right. So what we did basically, oh, hold on. Where's my video? There we go. Okay. So what we basically did is, so I guess I'll give a bit of background. So basically, before this project, there was a, I forgot what it's called, but basically we met up. It was a bunch of researchers, a bunch of children doctors, and a whole bunch of youth from across Canada. And we got together to try to figure out, what do youth need? Like, what do we need in order to support that part of the community, that demographic in the community? And basically what the youth came forward with was the idea of a peer-led 3-day retreat. And that's just to say that it was the whole idea behind this project came from youth, and it was made by them, right? And basically, we brought a youth from all across Canada, and they also developed, I think Jason Rovey just texted it. Yes, it was the Young Adult CIHR Planning Ground, the planning grant, that's what it was, okay. And essentially youth even developed, so basically what we did was we then hired 5 peer leaders. I might be dragging this out a little bit. Basically, they developed the whole thing, okay? It was all developed by youth in order to see what do they need? What do they want to learn about? How do they want to support each other? And that was what came out of that.
And from then on, from when the youth conducted that and took leadership and decided that it would be a retreat, we had a peer-led 3-day retreat in a resort in Aurelia, Ontario, with young people. And the sessions that were led, mainly that were pertained to the study, was on leadership, medications and adherence, disclosure, and future planning. And so how this research worked is participants consented to complete a survey 30 minutes prior to the retreat. So either like on the bus on the way to the retreat, or when we were registering, they consented to be in the research. It was voluntary, so you could still participate in the retreat, especially because we partnered with AIDS Committee of Durham prior. And then the last 30 minutes of the retreat, when everyone was packed up, to take another survey, and 3 months after the retreat. And every survey was voluntary, and you got an honorarium for each, but they could take one and choose not to take the other, or thus far. And then also the peer leaders who were kind of tasked with doing this project were interviewed 1 month before the retreat and 1 week after the retreat for their experience. Outcomes.
Okay, so the main 3 outcomes that we got out of this, so the first one is, without a doubt, it was fostering social connections. So from everything we saw, that was the most important thing that came out of these meetings. You could, it was basically an opportunity for these young people that are living with HIV to create a connection with other people that are going through the exact same thing they're going through, who know exactly what they're going through, and to open up for a lot of them the first time in their life about what they're going through, right? And develop a relationship, a friendship, a connection with a community where they don't have to hide that part of their life. Secondly, the goal was to enhance knowledge, right? To build, so not only were they creating connections, but it was an opportunity to educate yourself about everything that had to do with HIV, from the more medicine and scientific stuff, all the way to the more life experience and how to deal with different situations, how to deal with disclosure, how to deal with relationships. And the third outcome, which kind of flows out of the other 2, was to empower youth, both with those social connections and that knowledge, in order to become leaders in their own right, be able to become a pillar within this community, in order to be able to sort of empower other youth when their turn comes, and etc. So yeah, those were the 3 outcomes.
And links to wellness and well-being, we do just have like a few quotes on there, and I'm going to read one of them. Someone said it was very informative, like I learned a lot about like the love side of disclosing, and like what you can and what we cannot do if we are prosecuted or not. And I learned about U equals U because I didn't really know about it. I learned that in like the sessions. So overall, it was really informative. I learned precious information that I could take back my life. And when you look at evaluating impact, somebody had said, I definitely think the retreats are effective until you see those connections. Seeing somebody that was down in the dumps and then they become a mentor later on was very powerful to see, especially for youth that had like been lost in transition or something like that, to kind of come back into the fold and see people taking on leadership, and also just seeing the other side of getting off that hill was very impactful. That's what we evaluated it. Ahmed, do you want to talk about broader accountability for youth peer leadership?
For sure. So essentially, yeah. So the broader applicability, essentially, like I kind of touched on earlier, it was an opportunity to develop skills, right? The retreat was not only a social experience, but also an opportunity to learn and to develop some skills that youth would be able to use in the future, to also make connections in the community, and to get involved in the process of sort of programming, right? Like the research as well as the programming. And a second thing that was added was the personal growth aspect, which I believe someone said back then during the training, what I gained from that opportunity was understanding better what I went through, as well as who I am as a person now and how I can make a difference. Just to show how impactful and for a lot of these youth, how impactful it was for them.
So when it looks at scaling up, Ahmed and I have been involved in this work for a while, so we had some ideas. Training and hiring more peer leaders, especially that we will be leaving eventually. You can't just call on Ahmed in Muluba, which sometimes will be the automatic thing to do. So we want to train more people and give them that empowerment. And youth, there's a lot of them coming up. And when we mean training and hiring, it means giving them money, because you can't overdo somebody by volunteering that by the time they're 25, they're overworked. We want to make it a national initiative, which originally this was supposed to be national, but then we collaborated with AIDS Committee of Durham, and most of the people were from Ontario. So obviously it would be nice to scale that up, do Saskatchewan, everything. And that's something that the youth experienced with Camp Moomba a long time ago that was held in Vancouver. It was national, and a few years ago, or probably more than a few years ago, it went provincial, and there's different provincial things. Limitations are definitely COVID-19. A lot of youth have expressed not having a retreat this year has affected them, not being able to connect with youth. Some youth are not able to have computers and necessarily go on Zoom. So just little things like that. And the biggest limitation is the dollars, shillings, euros, the money. Where is it at? Does anybody know? You could let me know. But otherwise, that is it. Thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you, Ahmed and Muluba. It was really great thinking about that project and the great outcomes from it.